Hey everybody, Patty Ann here. Welcome. Hey, I hope you have your cup of coffee and you're ready to get started on making a new card with me. Here's the card that I'm making, and it's an A2 size, which means it fits in those envelopes that I always tell you that I like to use that I get from Staples. I haven't decorated the outside of this card at all, and I really haven't decorated the inside much either, other than to show you this beautiful pop-up flower in the center. I think it's really super duper cute, and it is so easy to make. I'm going to show you how to do it. All you'll need is one shape, and I'll show you where to get the shape, the flower shape. And you're going to need to adjust the flower shape in Silhouette software. So this is the paper I started to use, and I love this paper. I really like the back of it, and I was thinking that'd be perfect because it would show, but you don't need to use double-sided paper for yours because it doesn't show in the flowers at all. However, so I needed to cut 7 of these, and I've done that. And I needed to adjust them. See that little V shape right there? You need to cut that out. But what I really liked about this paper is it already has glitter on it. So that worked for me with the bling. And I kind of thought that I might like to use that same paper for the card, for the base of the card. But I didn't end up doing that in the end after all. I thought it would look really pretty because look, I just love that color. And I love the texture there of the wood-like look. It's pretty. I got that cardstock or that card at Tuesday morning one time, one of those pads of paper. So anyway, I'll show you now where I got the flower that I used, and I'll have a link for it down below. I needed an 8-petal flower, which is what this one has, so it's perfect. So I just downloaded it to my computer. It's free to use. And then after I downloaded it, I just opened up my Silhouette software and said File and Merge. And here are the two. I tried 2 different ones. The first one I didn't really like that well. It didn't have very nice lines. The second one was a lot nicer. So right here I had a little bit of a problem with it coming in, so I did it again. Here are the 2 that I brought in, and the one that worked was the one on the left, and this is it. So this is a perfect one. Like I said, 8 petals. The only thing is it has that hole in the center, but before we get that, I wanted to make it so it was 3.5 inches wide. So I selected it and came up here and typed in 3.5 inches and hit enter, which made it perfectly the right size. So there again's that little hole we need to get rid of. So what I did was I came up here to Object, Release Compound Path. After I selected it, Object, Release Compound Path. And then I just grabbed everything and said, right-clicked and said Weld. So now we have our perfect flower, except I want to get rid of one of the petals. And to do that, I'm going to use the knife tool. But before I do that, I'm going to draw a little circle, a little teeny weeny one. Hold down my shift key when I get to the circle thing. So I get a perfect circle. Hold down my shift and draw it out. All right, there it is. Now I'm going to select everything, the circle and the flower, because I want the circle centered perfectly. So I just come up here to the center button and do that. Alrighty. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to take the knife tool and knife out or cut out that one petal right there. So I'll come over to the left-hand side to get the knife tool. And I'm making sure that it says solid up here. And I want it to say poly. And I want to uncheck auto apply. Perfect. So now I'm going to start drawing. So you can see my knife tool hopefully down here, the lower left hand side of the flower. I'm going to draw up to the middle dot, click, and then down outside of the flower and click, double click actually. And since I didn't have auto apply on, I can now adjust where this is because you see it's not really exactly where I'd like it to be. So I'm going to move it over just a tiny little bit so I can line it up better. Perfect. Look at the center. Could be moved over just a hair. And the one on the right down here, I can move it over just a tiny little bit as well. So now I'll just double check everything and make sure nothing moved. And once I'm satisfied with it, I'll just come up here and apply it. Apply. And that actually made the knife work. So I take out that piece and I also take out the little tiny blue circle that I had. Highlight both of those and delete them by hitting delete on my keyboard. Okay, there's one flower and we need 7 of them totally. So I'm just going to hold down the Alt key on my keyboard while I click and drag one out. Then I'll click and drag another one until I get all 7. Now these would fit perfectly if I was using a 12 by 12 sheet of paper, which is what I ended up using. But if I was going to use a sheet that was 8.5 by 11, I could come up here to the page setup panel and change that size of my media to letter or 8.5 by 11, and then see if I can fit all the flowers on there. So I'm going to try twirling them around a bit, just fitting them in there, and I'm having a little bit of problem. And hopefully you're familiar with this really cool tool over on the right. You're going to see it in a minute. It's right above the little house that says Love, Laughter, and Learning. Right above that, there's going to be a little, there we go, the nesting palette. I'm going to click on the nesting palette, or panel I should say, and it opens up like this, and I'm going to use it and have the buttons just like I have them here. Only stuff on the media. There's nothing out there to worry about, but I just want the things on the media. The padding I'll leave the same and the other, and I'll just say nest and watch what happens when I click on nest. That automatically just jumbled them all around so they fit perfectly on that 8.5 by 11 sheet of paper, which is really cool. I love that feature. Because I'm going to show you, I'm going to mess them up again. And I'm going to imagine myself trying to get these where they belong. As you can see, if I twirl them around enough, maybe I can get them to fit without touching each other. But why go to all that bother when all I have to do is select them all and come over here to the nesting panel and just say nest. And look at that. Just like that, it nests them all perfectly, even have space left over. Okay, so now I'm going to go ahead and cut them. I have my machine cut on or set on auto blade and auto cut, and I have my paper on the patterned paper, the glitter paper, because that's what I'm using. And for my blade, as old as it is, I like to up the depth of my knife blade to an 8. And once I've got all that set, I'm not sure what I was originally talking about there before I had to do this voiceover. So anyway, once I have it set, I would just cut it. And here they are cut. All 7 of them. Turned out really nice. And again, I may have not said this before, but you may have thought that I needed to put score lines on here. But I didn't think I needed to bother with score lines on all of that because I'm really able to score these or to bend them, fold them, right where it's quite easy to fold them. See, and just use my fingernail to kind of make sure they bend nicely. So again, I just line up petals to petals. I wasn't very accurate there, as you'll notice. but they turned out okay. I drive a friend of mine crazy that I used to quilt with because I would always say, oh, it's okay, it's close enough, and she liked to be very exacting, and I would drive her crazy. Sometimes I wanted mine to be exact, but no matter how hard I tried, I had trouble doing it. So I've just learned to let go, just let it be. So right now I'm going to show you where to glue it, and you're going to do the same thing to each one of these petals. So right there on the back, I'm just going to put glue. I'm just using this zig glue. You can use Elmer's glue, the glitter glue, even your tape runner. But I have the zig glue. I used to have a scan and cut, and we used the zig glue, this two-way zig glue, to stick our mats. I'll put a link to it down below just in case you're curious what I'm talking about, zig glue. So there's one done, and I'll do another one. I have to do all 7 the exact same way. So again, you just fold them over and pinch it, and I kind of fold it back the other way and keep doing that. And again, you'll see I'm not exact. Fold it back. I won't go through all 7 of these. As soon as I'm done with this one, I'll go ahead and fast forward to the next part. So let me glue this guy together. Okay, again, I'm going to put glue on the back side of one of the petals, and then I'll have 2, and I'm going to show you eventually how to put them together. A little bit of glue here. Okay, so once you're done with that part, now what you're going to do is just fold them all in half like this. And again, you can see how mine don't perfectly match up, but not a problem. Once you have all 7 of them done, you're going to begin putting them together. And this part you might want to take a little note on because you have to glue them in certain areas. And while I was doing the live version of this, someone asked me, where did I get the idea for this? Well, I actually saw another YouTube video on someone doing this, but they were using the scan and cut to do it, and that software is a lot different than what we use for Silhouette. So I wanted to show you guys how to do it with our machines. Okay, So I'm getting ready. The first one, I needed a pen and my glue, and I'm going to mark where I'm going to put the glue. Now you're just going to put it on the tip of those petals, not all the way down, just the tip right there and there. And then after you've done that, you're going to grab another one of the flowers and stick it on like this. So you can see how easy that is. You're just lining up the petals and the center point of the flower. Just hold it down there for a moment and grab another one and put it on this side over here. Again, lining up the petals and the center point like that, and holding it down for a moment. I think this flower is really fun to make, and this card is actually really fun to make. I'm sure some of you in my Facebook group will be making these, and you'll really make yours fancy. I can't wait to see what you do, especially with whatever is going to be inside of your card and the outside. If you're not in our Facebook group, you might want to join it, Cutting Up with Patty Ann, because we put a lot of pretty cards in there and different things that we make with either our Cricut machine or our cameos. And oftentimes our Cricut machine for our cameos, our silhouette software for our Cricut. Okay, I just talked over what I just did. I put 3 dots of glue, and then I put this next flower petal right on top of those 3 dots of glue. Okay, so now what I'm going to do is I'm going to put 4 dots, and I'll tell you what I did. So actually, I skipped a petal, skip 1, and then put 2, skip 1, put 2, skip 1. So again, I'm going to put the glue here. And I'm going to take one of my flower petals and put it, and I get a little bit confused here for a sec. Put it like that. So again, it's the point is meeting at the point. And then this one is the same on this side with the point meeting with the point. All right, so we have our last one to do, and that's going to be with the V facing to the left. I'm going to do 3 dots again right there. Put the glue on. And then stick him right on top. And hold it down for a moment, and I actually went ahead and put it underneath the tripod stand that I have over here to let it harden or dry just a little bit. In the meantime, while that's drying, I'm going to get a piece of cardstock, and I found a really, really pretty color to use. I don't have my paper trimmer right here, so I'll show you how I do it with a ruler and my X-Acto knife. So there's the pretty blue that I found. Just folded it in half at first. Kind of scored it with my fingernail. And then, as I said, I just got my ruler. And an X-Acto knife and cut it down the center. And this is why I always like to make the A2 size cards, because you get 2 card bases out of every 8.5 by 11 sheet of paper. And I really like that. 2 card bases per sheet of paper. So I'll set one of the card bases aside, and then I'll just fold this card in half. And that is my A2 size card. The size that I say I like because it fits perfectly in the envelopes that I purchased from Staples. I don't like making my own envelopes because I feel it wastes my paper. So grab that back out from under my tripod, and there it is. And with the flower, with the V facing towards the fold, I'm going to fold that up like that, flip this over, and I'm just going to put a dab of glue in the center flower petal. Okay, just the center one. So it's opposite of the V. Press it down, and I could even close this up a little bit to really get it pressed in there. Then I'm going to open it up, and I'm going to put some glue on the petal of this side that's the opposite of the V. That's all you need to do, and it's right near the top, not the whole thing. And let that dry for a moment. And I was just talking here about how I could have made it a little fancier, you know, if I was going to fancy up the front of it, but I didn't plan on that for this video. I always have these extra pieces that I've pre-cut, and I like to layer because I think it really makes it look nice. So I was just sampling some different colors to see what I might like, and I think I would really like those colors together. And in addition to that, I was thinking it would be nice to have like a rectangle of the pretty glittered paper that I used for the flower cut into a shape on the front of the card as well. So I'm going to hold down these little points right here just in case they're not totally dry yet, but you can see how cute that is. And like I said, I am sure, I know, I could name some people that I know are going to make some fabulous cards like this and really make them fancy. I know one person in particular that likes to use stickles. I know another one that likes to use the foil. So I'm just thinking, I wonder what they can do with these things. And let's see, another one that likes to use different kind of shapes that she puts on the front of her cards. So I can't wait to see what people come up with. But again, this is all I did was I came to that website, downloaded this free flower, merged it in, went to Object, Release Compound Path to get rid of the circle, and then I grabbed all of it and just said weld. Took the knife. Oh no, before I took the knife, I made a little circle in the middle, holding down my shift key to make a nice perfect circle. Grab them both, come up here and center it, and then get the knife tool, because I want to cut one of those petals out. I only want to have 7 petals. Make sure it's on solid poly and auto apply is unchecked, and just go ahead and do my knife. So I click and drag up to the center, click and drag on out and double click. And now once I'm satisfied with where it is, I just come up here and click on apply. Then I'm able to remove that petal and that little blue circle that I made and delete both of those. Then I just hold down my Alt key and just duplicate that 7 times, and it's ready to go. And again, don't forget about that nesting tool panel over there. That thing really is helpful. So I'm thinking I'm going to make some of these for the Cards for Kids that we do. That's a charity that we do, and there's more talk about it on this Facebook group if you're interested in learning more about it. Ask anybody over there and they can help you with it if you can't find it on the group. But it's a charity, and we give cards to kids who have been maybe sent to foster homes or taken from their home because of some kind of abusive situation, or they're sick. We just don't know, but we just send cards of encouragement, never mentioning their situation, just encouraging them, saying things like, you're one in a million, you're the best, you know, that kind of thing. So I hope you like my video. Give me a thumbs up, and please subscribe if you do. I'm trying to get to 30,000, and I'm getting pretty darn close. So thanks again for joining me. See y'all again soon. Bye-bye.